Hello, I'm Sharon Tapper. I'm the Executive Director of the Music Managers Forum US. Appreciate you joining us today. If you're new to us, welcome. And if you've been with us on these webinars before, welcome back. If you're not already familiar with our work, here's some background. We are an organization that was established in 1993 with a leading trade association for artist managers and self-managed artists in the United States. We are registered 501c6 non-for-profit, and we rely on the support of our members and the generosity of our sponsors to provide our programming. If you're not already a member, please consider becoming one on our website, which is mmf-us.com, and just click on the application button. We serve the needs of our community in several ways, but at the core of what we offer is education, community, and advocacy. Through educational webinars like today's webinar, we're able to support managers by providing continuous professional development within an ever-evolving music industry. And through our advocacy efforts, we're able to provide a collective voice to lobby and affect policy change for a fairer and more transparent music industry. And by providing networking opportunities both virtually in the form of webinars and through our in-person events, through community meetups and all-day summits, we're able to provide a space in which our community can learn, share, and connect with one another. We're also part of the IMMF, which connects us with MMF organizations around the world. So the International Music Managers Forum connects 65 MMFs around the world. So that's Europe, Latin America, Asia, Australia, and Africa. So that gives us global opportunities to connect with one another. If you want to stay informed of what we do, please sign up for our bi-weekly emails, our newsletters on our website, follow us on our social media channels at MMF-US, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where this webinar will be edited and made beautiful and posted there for you to watch at your convenience. So thank you for your patience. We're going to get down to business, and the reason that we're here today, we are delighted to welcome Marlen Hüllbrock, who is Head of Marketing and Audience at Music Ally.
Hi, everyone.
And she's joined by two surprise guests today. We have Will Thompson, who's Worldwide Head of Marketing at 4AD, and Ryan Starr, who's CEO and co-founder at Stationhead. Marlen, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here. Maybe just as a quick intro to Music Ally, because I'm not sure how many of you are aware of what we do. We have been publishing information about the global music industry and very specifically about the digital space for more than 20 years. So we started out as a digital publication. Today, all of the major labels read us, many indie labels around the world, many managers, music tech platforms, publishers, collecting societies. So we do really have a good reach across the industry and globally as well. And the idea of today was just to kind of base this on one of our recent reports that we've published. Let me just quickly share something here. So this is our website where you are able, as a subscriber, to access all of our archives and insights. And by the way, we do have a sponsored subscription for artist managers. So any artist manager can receive our insights for free. I'm going to share that link with Sharon as well. And then once you're signed up, you can, as I've mentioned, access all of our archives. And one thing that we do is we publish what we call so-called Sandbox guides. They are very much marketing focused. So we publish them once a month, and usually they focus on one marketing related topic that we think is currently very relevant. And recently we published one around marketing to superfans. So this is the basis, or forms the basis for this session today. And as you can see, you can access it here. It usually has, a couple of interviews there with experts, like strategic takeaways in the beginning that you can implement, as well as some case studies we're going to talk about today as well. So one thing we have talked about quite a lot within our team is, why is there such a big focus on superfans right now? It kind of seems like everyone's talking about it, even though we kind of know that superfans have always been there and they've always been important. And we think that it kind of boils down to two things, or various things, but simply speaking, two things. One is, of course, the need for cutting through the noise and capturing the attention of audiences, which is really, really hard, of course, these days, as well as the challenging streaming economics. And we think that for a really long time, a lot of artist teams have really focused on, the masses, just finding as many people that can listen to an artist as possible. Whereas I think now a lot of people are sort of waking up to the fact that actually you really have to go back to this idea of the 1,000 fans that truly care about you and that actually go back to stream your music again and again, as well as do other things that are outside of streaming and support you in different ways. Who are superfans? Obviously, they are an artist's most engaged segment of fans. Luminate defines superfans as fans that are engaging with artists in more than 5 ways. So following them on socials, buying merchandise, going to live events, etc. And obviously we know that in this day and age, an artist might have a lot of followers or a lot of listeners on DSPs, but that subset of people that actually does a couple of these things tends to be way smaller than the big numbers on these platforms. Superfans also, at least in the US, spend 80% more on music each month than the average listener. So they are also really able to provide artists with more income, importantly. But it's not just about the money side of things. They also show up early for an artist show. They are spreading the word, whether that's online or offline. And that means they're really, really powerful for an artist in so many different ways. When we think of superfans, we often think about artists such as Taylor Swift or K-pop acts such as 17 that are topping the charts constantly. But superfans are really important for any type of artist. And some Spotify data says that averaged across all artist sizes, super listeners make up 2% of an artist's monthly listeners, but they account for over 18% of monthly streams. So you can see how much of an impact those listeners can have on an artist's streaming numbers. They are also really, really interested in merch as well. So on average, that 2% of an artist's monthly listeners account for more than half of the artist merch purchases. And some other data from Luminate also says that superfans want more merch. They want more options. So whether you're working with an artist that's just starting out, that means that investing in merch, even if it's just really small in the beginning, can be really important to start creating those superfans. And then, once you go up to more established artists, as I've said, offering more options can be really important as well. And then another interesting fact here is that there are certain parts of the world where more super listeners or super fans reside. So for example, Latin America has 4 of the top 10 markets with the highest concentration of super listeners. For example, Mexico and Chile here. But also, if you can see here, there are some other countries that I, for example, hadn't thought about, like Poland, for example, has a lot of strong super listeners. So keeping that in mind when you look at your international marketing strategy is also important as well. And then some challenges when we think about the superfan space is that obviously there are so many digital platforms now that an artist fan base is spread across a variety of these platforms. And that means the fan data is segmented, but also often third parties control it. So, the Metas and the TikToks of the world. And it's actually really difficult to see who of these people that are engaging with an artist on these platforms are the superfans. And that means there actually has to be, you have to input some effort into making sure that you're funneling those fans into a place where you can control them or where you have access to that data. Because otherwise, artists often don't have that direct access to their fans. There are lots and lots of superfan tools popping up at the moment. And one interesting piece of news here as well was that Warner Music, for example, has revealed that they are working on their own superfan app, which is supposed to be kind of cross-platform, and they say that they want to provide their artists with the data. And that's actually another kind of point of contention, that often, especially the major labels, kind of keeping that data from the artists and their managers as well. So it's an interesting space at the moment where I think a lot is happening, and managers as well are stepping up a lot to say, actually, we do need to have this data, and we do need to understand our artist fan bases as well. And yeah, I'm very happy that we're going to later on look at one of the Superfan focus tools, which is Stationhead. But I think for now, I would like to continue with one of the case studies that was included in our Sandbox report, which was from Adrian Lenker, and Will is going to talk about that a little bit and answer some questions.
Hey folks, thanks Marlen. So we feel very fortunate at 4AD to work with Adrian and her band Big Thief. We've kind of always approached every campaign based around what we think is kind of most appropriate for her as an artist and her voice. And it's been really important at all points to have her as a creative part of that. I think there are so many amazing tools out there and there's so many ways to reach people, but it's all kind of, we don't want to be doing anything that doesn't quite feel appropriate for the story that Adrienne herself is trying to tell. I'm sure like many people on here have clients that there's lots of conversations where you can be like, to all artists, there are these amazing things, we're confident in the results, but ultimately, if it doesn't feel in keeping with who that artist is and what they represent, then it's not going to be appropriate, and fans are going to see through that as well. So I think kind of approaching this latest campaign for Bright Future, it's an artist that we've been very fortunate. There's been a lot of TikTok activity that's been incredibly organic. We've not lent into influencer campaigns or anything like that on the project, but seen her really connect with a younger, really excited audience who want to be a part of the story she's telling. And so at the start of the campaign, we were very keen to get deep into it with her about what this record meant to her and what she wanted to communicate to people for it, and for us to kind of facilitate that and find ways to amplify that. So some of the key takeaways from our initial creative conversations were that the record was recorded in the morning, entirely analog, straight to tape, in northeast of the US, like in this beautiful bucolic setting, like where they'd go walking in the woods every afternoon. They'd sit around campfires, they'd discuss music, and it just seemed like this incredible creative bliss that had kind of allowed her and her band to make this really special record. So we wanted to find ways to reflect that and give fans an opportunity to experience the record in that way. I think that for all artists, there's kind of that fear, but necessary awareness that a lot of people are going to be introduced to their music or consuming their music on playlists initially, or discovering it on YouTube and things like that. And we wanted to give fans just, even if it's just one opportunity in life, to really hear the record in a special situation where it's 100% of their concentration, they're surrounded by fans who it means something to, and really start using the record to help build that community around the record. So we, around a week prior to the album came out, we hosted events in 12 countries, including 2 in the US, London. We were in Mexico and Japan, in the Philippines, and many more, where we worked with local partners basically to go, the priorities are something that feels like a community space, somewhere where there's hi-fi audio so fans can experience it as Adrian would want them to, where we could do screen printing so that Adrian could do a drawing that we could then screen print for free for fans to give something back, and where there was video projector capabilities so we could show a music video a couple of months prior to its release and really feel like we were creating a special occasion for fans to go and for them to meet other fans with kind of, it's something we weren't able to do everywhere, but there's been a huge element of fan art that sprung up on TikTok and other short form platforms, with people making amazing ceramics, amazing paintings, like stick and poke tattoos based on lyrics. And we wanted to have an element of an art exchange as part of the events as well, so that people could come together And Adrienne used this amazing phrase. She was like, I want these events to be about de-pedestaling the artist. So though it was an opportunity for people to come together to hear the record together, for us and for the artist, it was ultimately that we wanted people to have a stronger bond with the people they're seeing at these shows, with the people who around the world are listening to this music and who it matters to. So the record hopefully just providing a start point to then create a safe space for people who have all these other things in common and give them a chance to explore that. So we did in New York, we did an event at a church in Ridgewood that does a load of amazing community outreach. They host AA events. They do a shelter for the unhoused every night, which felt a great place and looked amazing. We brought in an audio partner, Bang & Olufsen, who were really amenable and really excited about the opportunity, and then opened it up to 100 people a session for 3 sessions, being kind of the tricky middle ground of being like, we really want everyone who wants to come to have an opportunity to be there, but also these are free events, so we don't want it to be oversubscribed. We don't want people who can't get in. So we were very fortunate that it was kind of, we hit the number right and had about 120 people turn up to each event, and just incredibly gratifying to have some people who turned up an hour and a half early for the first show, as it were. They went in, they did drawing during the show, then they came out after the first listen and were like, oh, is it okay if I stay again? This one, I really did some drawing and I really connected with the record. I met some people up there. I'd love to stay if there's space for me to do another session. And this person ended up staying for 6 hours through 3 listens of the record and just really connected. She did some amazing drawings, which we took to give to Adrienne as well. And then we screen printed a t-shirt for her and gave everyone who attended a limited edition lyric book to take away. And then Adrienne played at Music Hall, a surprise show, a couple of nights later. And it was so rewarding to see people at that show who'd been at the listening event, who came up to us and recognized us and were wearing their screen printed t-shirts. And it just felt a really necessary and important way for us to hopefully give back to the people that are going to be responsible for kind of hopefully allowing Adrienne to have a 20, 30, 40-year career. The focus for us was very much on, we want to give back to fans. We don't want to see kind of, I think Superfans as a term can have kind of dollar signs attached to it. And it's like, these are people who are going to buy more variants. We can upsell to a lot of these people. And we're really cautious where possible to make sure that these are the people that we're actually kind of celebrating and bringing into the campaign and giving them a reason to tell their friends about it and evangelize for this artist, because those are the people who will be there in 15, 20 years. Like if we've got people who are feeling so inspired that they want to get lyrics tattooed on them from an artist, we want that to be something really special and amazing and not kind of reduced just to a commercial thing that we can then be like, oh, this is somebody who will definitely invest, like will make more money from. I'm sure obviously that's something that is there at the back of our minds longer term, like, but primarily we want to celebrate people who are connecting with the music and have the opportunity to feel a part of the campaign and feel a part of the story, rather than kind of it being something that is being sold to them.
Great, thank you. Will, some questions I had were, first of all, did you say that those events were like open to everyone, or did you sort of like pick out certain super fans or like segments of fans that you invited?
They were open to everybody. We made them not available to, they weren't industry facing events. We didn't have kind of partner lists or anything. They were announced with Eventbrite links on Adrienne's Instagram, a mailing list, and her Lalo list. And so everybody who signed up in advance, and then we told people when tickets would become available, so there was prior warning, so people all hopefully had an equal chance. And there was definitely still people who wanted tickets and weren't able to get in, but it felt the most democratic way to do it. We knew there was always going to be a chance that people would be disappointed and couldn't get there.
Yeah, and there's one question here from Steve that I think, yeah, is probably on a lot of people's mind as well. So it's a question about budget, and So just reading out something here. So even those with the cash, as the vision of spending whatever you did to get 100-ish people in a room for the long tail value is very tough to get buy-in on. So yeah, I guess, how do you think about this? Like, how much do you budget for this? And, how do you sort of...
I mean, to entirely sort of candidly, we ended up it being under $1,000 for each of these events kind of around the world, because I think we were able to find fans locally who were excited to be involved, or perhaps had connections to locations. And we wanted to make sure as well that we weren't kind of operating from the US and the UK to then be like, oh, this seems a good place online that we should work with in Thailand and Bangkok. We were able to speak to local fans who had input and were excited to kind of be a part of them having some ownership of the projects as well. So even in some places where it felt like more of a gamble, where we knew there was we'd been in touch with a handful of fans in a place. We did something in a cafe that they were able to work with for a couple of hours, and then just have 30, 40 people turn up. And it was like, actually, those 30 people will have a connection with the record that for hopefully the next 10 years, and they'll remember that experience all the time.
Hi, Sharon here. We've got somebody asking, how do you calculate the proposed ROI for these events, or how do you track the long tail value?
That's a very good question. I think that there's probably, whilst not a direct ROI coming out of it, I think that social conversation at the time and afterwards is a really crucial thing that we saw. Hundreds of people sharing the events and posting about them online and posting from them, which is converting to a huge amount of free awareness that we'd have had to, and a lot more authentic awareness than if we'd, for example, done an influencer campaign and paid people to be posting about the events. It felt like kind of not conversion, sorry, but a replacement for that, where we were having people with genuine kind of enthusiasm and excitement and felt that they were part of it and were doing the free marketing for us. So I think that the impressions from their online content is probably the closest to an ROI we'd got. And then we saw kind of a spike in pre-orders in a number of those countries where we had done stuff. And I think it's going to be ongoing as well. We showed a music video which is coming out in a couple of weeks. And so I think that's going to be a really useful barometer when we announce the video in advance of a YouTube premiere, to see how many people are kind of on Reddit and in chats talking about the video and spreading, being like, oh, I've seen this, or this is incredible, you're going to be amazed. And that's going to be a really useful ongoing way for us to keep measuring that. I think it's, yeah, the long-term ambition is that these are people who are coming back to shows and who are buying albums and telling friends about it. So even seeing people at the show a couple of nights later, it's like, oh, okay, these people are feeling more connected to the project. We don't know if they'd have necessarily bought a ticket had they not had this experience. But it is speculative. I do appreciate that.
We've got another question. What are the smartest practices to get super fans excited to use Laylo, and the best ways to use Laylo?
The best ways to get, there are so many incredible tools, including Laylo, that I think it is a wariness of having too many platforms that you're asking people to sign up for, and prioritizing one and putting everything through that. Because I think people will sign up for one thing, but if you've then got multiple other things, then people are going to get fatigued. I think the best way to incentivize it is by using it for exclusive stuff. And I know that it's such a nightmare with trying to balance content across the million different platforms we're having to provide for anyway. But I think if it's a service like Laylo, having something that is truly exclusive, be it like early snippets of music or video stuff or artist to camera pieces, whatever feels most appropriate to the artist. It might be outtakes of artwork and the artist doesn't need to be involved in it. But I think being able to communicate that it's something they won't get anywhere else and isn't going to just be kind of jumped up on Instagram a couple of weeks later, and that is the only place, is probably the best step initially.
I have a question. How do you convert people who are following fans online on these various platforms so they have true connectivity? Because there is that big gap where people like and follow and do these things, but then there's a big gap between that connectivity.
I think what we found with I think it is a question of resource and time, and actually having the opportunity to engage and having a real brief of what the artist's voice is that you want to convey and what's appropriate for the artist. We have some artists who will personally be going through and finding people and DMing them and thanking them for tagging them in stories and things like that. Whereas for Adrienne, we go through as a label team and find the most exciting and interesting uses of short form or the most interesting UGC that we found and send that to Adrienne, and she either gives us responses that we can post on her behalf. She's kind of actively looking at it and will often communicate that this is a message from management, because we're very wary about kind of the idea of parasocial relationships and not trying to miscommunicate anything and any sort of artist engagement. But we, as a label, have been finding what we think are the most creative and exciting uses of Adrienne's music and then sending them screen prints. Like, just we've been doing them. I learned myself to screen print posters for the event. It was a very DIY operation, but so we've been sending just these screen printed posters to fans who've been doing the most amazing things, or sending lyric books to them from the label, so they know it's not necessarily from the artist. There's still that kind of healthy distance, but there's, hopefully they feel valued and know that what they're doing is being appreciated, and it excites the artist and the team around her.
That's great. We've got another question. What do you think about Lalo versus other tools like Patreon or Groot for fans to pay into more exclusive opportunities?
I think they probably have different purposes. I think Patreon, and I follow a lot of podcasts on Patreon, so I think Patreon is an amazing tool for direct to artist payments and a way to offer those things. And I think there's a number of tools that do similar, whereas I think of Lalo as more of kind of a messaging and awareness thing. I think Patreon is probably better for actually building a community, because you've got an opportunity to comment and have people reply to each other and things like that, whereas Lalo is a far more one-sided thing. I think Lalo operates better as kind of a news feed or a one-sided text feed to send people exclusives, rather than it being about building that community around the artist and the artist being the start point for that world.
Got it. We've got another question. For indie artists who are still forming a sizable fan base, could you see specialty events like this being helpful in activating creating superfans?
We've been having a similar conversation actually about kind of a more embryonic artist that we're working with at the moment. I think there is a level of kind of pragmatism about not wanting to do something too ambitious, which is going to be kind of undersold or underprepared and feel awkward for the artist as well, even to the extent of things like YouTube premieres and online and kind of the optics of numbers and stuff. But I do think that working with an artist earlier in their career with lower numbers actually gives a really great opportunity, because you're able to spot those people much earlier and connect with them far easier than having like 100,000 fans posting about you. There's no way to keep track of that. Whereas a smaller artist, I think it's a lot easier to engage people and connect with them in a real sense earlier. And those are the people who are going to help your kind of audience grow much quickly. I get all of like the recommendations. I'm sure most people on here, most things that I kind of end up listening to will primarily be from friends sending me stuff. I'll always listen to something through word of mouth before something I see in the press or on social media. So I think it's similar that if a fan is feeling invested enough in an artist to be taking their friends to a show or telling their friends about a release, then that's going to reach more people, and more people are going to listen in a real sense than it be kind of a background thing on a playlist and a passive experience.
So there's one more question here from Steve. How do you get the artist team to buy in on the extra work to provide the content for superfans? We all know how hard it is to get an IG post when you need it, but you need valuable content for emails, SMS, Discord. Does it all have to be done up front? And you essentially have content to edit along the campaign? Do they get more actively engaged after initial results?
I think, and it's probably not a popular opinion, but I think it's a case of choosing battles, not taking the pressure from the platforms as a necessity to be posting everywhere. I think if you have an artist that really likes writing and doing a Substack that is really compelling and has a load of really amazing stuff is better than trying to do Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and a mailing list. I think it's better to try and find what an artist is really creatively excited by and lean into that and trust that as that audience grows, that stuff that is kind of shared there, like Nick Cave's mailing list is incredible. And when he writes in there, that ends up being picked up by press, ends up going across Reddit. Fans, I think finding somewhere that fans can connect with an artist and feel that they're getting that insight, fans are then going to do the work to spread that elsewhere. Like so much work is done by like for Adrienne and artists like Mitski, who is incredible. So much work is done by fans spreading their work as memes and as a contextual thing. And that often comes from one source. It's not from it being having to be replicated everywhere.
Thank you very much, Will. Thank you so much for coming on here and answering all of those questions.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Ryan, would you like to continue with talking a bit about Stationhead?
Sure, thanks. And you guys have framed it quite nicely in two different parts of my life. I feel we're just represented, Marlen, in your presentation and identifying what the superfan is and the problems to be solved, which I'm excited to tackle. What I signed up for in my life now with Stationhead. And then Will, I probably wouldn't be here solving problems if I had the kind of empathetic, nuanced representation behind me on the business side as I was an artist my whole life to get here. It's awesome. I'm a big fan of the label, and now I understand why it's so different. So just well done. I know this isn't a time to just blow smoke, but I'm very, very taken back to hear how you think about things and how you are thinking about Superfan. Thanks for going on camera. Not talking to a wall. Yeah, it's amazing to hear how some are thinking of Superfan, and I'll pull back a little bit in a second, but really you hit on something that's close to my heart, which is in all the Superfan talk, we are at a moment now that's almost echoing in a scary way what happened with like the potential and the beauty of Web3, right? And like the utility underneath it all is so sound, and we've all done our research and are aware of like so much of that makes so much sense for the future, and it really got hijacked and it went the wrong way when everyone started trying to make quick money off of NFTs and just start looking at like a get rich quick Bitcoin idea of this beautiful potential technology that's here to serve us in the future. And I do have this same worry. I'm not an expert there, but I am on this, and I have this same worry that everyone's using this superfan language, and will hit it head on. In his bravery to say, like most people are talking about it, to how to make more money from these fans that are willing to spend, right? And like that is just the wrong way to approach this. And when you see big companies making big moves, per one of your slides on your deck, Marlen, it's a great concern, because I know what they're, in the end, we all have to make money. I understand that, but it really goes direct to, hey, what are deeper ways we can engage to, have more tools to go wider and deeper, connect with our super fan, means show me the money, like give me more money, right? And that concerns me, because I'd hate for this idea. Fan is nothing new. Fans have always fueled everything in music. But it does concern me that we're having this great conversation, and VCs are having fireside chats around fan and superfan. I'm like, they have not spent 2 a.m. In Michigan with their fans outside of a tour bus, making sure they all felt that connection with me. Like that they're in a realm of business that they don't understand how you got there and why you say things like superfans are the key to longevity as an artist, and understanding and knowing them and serving them, yet still being the artist, right? And protecting that, like Will is doing so well over there. So it does, it brings up that slide, like kind of made me like, oh, here they come, and I hope we don't have to like shift words of what a superfan is, because I'm very passionate about it. And of course, there's of course business to be had, but we also have to make sure we're building the right things for the right reasons here as we move forward. And I deeply believe in superfan. Stationhead was birthed out of this feeling. I'm an artist. My name is Ryan Starr. I've been out there. I've been on multiple record labels, and I say that probably 4 major record labels. I think I beat Katy Perry and she had a movie, right? Which is like, and I don't say that to say to brag, oh, I've been in it and been signed. It was more I've been through it. You know, I was enough that I had a career and I was mid-level and I had hits on the radio and made a living in New York making music, the dream, right? But enough where I still had to like, you know, tell Adam Levine, you know, backstage, like, yo, I gotta go to the merch booth and I gotta go talk to the fans. While rock stars would be like, yo, man, good luck with that. Like, sucker, you know, you gotta go busk on the subway or something. I never felt it was I never felt I was hawking them or sounding. I felt it was my favorite part of the night when I'd make those deep connections with the real people. And knew that I'd have this moment, and I knew those were the people I could depend on when the radio hit wasn't there. And I did depend on them when it wasn't there. And these are the people still to this day. You talked about lyrics tattooed on people. All over the world I've been with my lyrics tattooed on people, right? And in the digital world, it gets very far from you. It gets very lonely. Like the digital world's really created a lonely experience, especially around music. And the idea was, how do we bring that, how do we connect that? How do we take all that energy and that idea of wanting to connect with these fans in a deeper way, but make it around these tools that people are kind of building now. And for us, it was, you know, my big frustration was seeing millions of streams, seeing millions of views on YouTube, seeing I have 1,200 people listening to my music right now on the artist app, right? And I hit that button. I'm like, come on, who are the people? Who are the people? Give me them. You know, like these are not like, if I only knew 10 of them, maybe I can go to that merch booth or sell them a special thing that I think they would appreciate more than other, right? So that disconnect, to your point, Marlen, of like all of these other people owning the data and owning that audience is far from me going around the Mercury Lounge at 16 years old with a mailing list. And what I was doing was owning my customer and like really making that connection and having them. We all know MySpace came out and, oh my God, this is brilliant. I don't have to walk around with the mailing list. And people are even finding me online. And we all know where that went, and the algorithmic and the disintermediation of these things to the fans, and how do we now connect? And now you take someone like I mentioned, an Adam Levine, who they had the luxury of still that marketing machine working for these big stars, where they didn't have a problem getting the word out. But here we are years later, where even the biggest stars on the planet are going, where are the fans? Like, where are the super fans? Like, where are they? And some people have done it geniusly. I'd say Taylor Swift has put it into the DNA of who she is, and that's why she will be here for a very long time. She did it like Fish and the Grateful Dead and Pearl Jam, and you can name these artists on one hand, right? The people that have built super fandom into the DNA of their existence from day one. And the belief in the mission of StationNet is that every artist, we're the platform to do that, right? From fan one to superstardom. This is where you'll be able to hit that button of, where are my super fans now? Oh, here they are. I can engage with them directly right away. And that's what StationNet is. And I'll pull up quick slides just to walk you guys through real quick. I'm not like a slide guy. I'm not the pitch guy, but I am the artist that built this, and I have a lot of passion for solving this problem. For one of them you brought up, Marlen, was different platforms, right? Like for me, I loved streaming. I loved the idea that finally someone was going to solve this problem of piracy, and we all lived through that. That was really tough. So for me, streaming was the solution. It was magic, and now it comes out like water, and we all know it's infrastructure, and it's cured the business in so many ways. But it did leave the community part, the social part, the human part of listening together out. And I was like, well, where's a place where I don't have to just post pictures of my French toast on a Sunday? I don't have to do a dance. All these are great, by the way, great forms of expression and new performance art and great ways to get people to know about you. But where can it be around the music, where it counts for me, where I could see like the fans that are supporting me, and I can get paid on the streams. And that's how we built StationNet. We built it so if you're with Apple, if you're with Spotify, you just kind of bring your own music to the party, and you now have music a part of this social experience. And that's really what StationNet was. It was built to know where all my best fans were, and know that they were there supporting my music at that time, where I could go and engage with them directly, without anything blocking me. And what we've done with that is really we've created, it started simply like that, but what happened was, this problem was that people were looking for a place to listen to music together. And they'd be on Twitter and they'd say, I'm listening. Are you listening? You're listening. I'm listening. And they'd be alone, basically listening to music. When they found Stationhead, it all changed. We were building a social platform essentially, and everyone would think you need the star, because once you have a star, they'll tell everyone else about it. And that's how you build social platforms. The creator will come and then they will tell everyone else about it. And that's how you build, you know, these kinds of platforms. We didn't have that luxury of knowing these big stars or getting people to use our platform. And God knows I would have done anything to do that at the time, but we had to approach it a different way. And we realized we were solving this problem for all of these fans that wanted to mobilize, and listen together and support their artists, and they had no place to do it. So when they found Stationhead, it became this incredible experience where fandoms around the world were listening to their favorite artists together. It was that simple, in a Twitch-like experience where they're chatting and they're talking and they're messaging and they're playing the music, paid premium streams, actually. They were doing all of this. And it got so big, these experiences of listening together got so big that the artists themselves organically would hear about it and hop on. One fateful night, Cardi B is driving home from the Grammys, getting tacos, literally. And she sees her fans on Stationhead are hanging out, listening to her music, her life's work, right? And she goes, check this out. She hops on, she says, what's up to all of her fans, and starts hanging out. And they're saying, welcome to our channel. Right? This wasn't her channel. Welcome to our show. Welcome to our channel. And at that moment, I realized, man, this is almost like a grassroots thing where people would work. You know, someone will work at the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they'll support her all week, all month. And then Hillary will come and she'll bring some pizzas and she'll hang out with them and talk to them and have fun, do that merch booth thing. They'll take pictures and then she'll leave and go do her thing. And then they'll keep working. And that's what we've done. 90% of the consumption on Stationhead happens when the artist isn't even there, right? So when you want to know, where are my super fans? If you're one of the artists that we have on these channels, they're on Stationhead. Just to give you an idea of what it sounds like and like what we're talking about, this is an example of, you know, what these experiences sound like. And they talk to the artists, they talk to the fans in a different way. Like when you're on Stationhead, there's an intimacy that a lot of these people in this room, a lot of the managers here would know, that like you just talk to these super fans different than you would talk to them on an Instagram. And Instagram is like you're broadcasting to the world, you're telling everyone about, you know, the big stuff. You're playing the garden. And then Stationhead, we've taken those people from your presentation, Marlen, the super fans, and that's our audience. You're talking to those people here. And it is a different experience and a really, really enjoyable one for the artist. It's like Olivia Rodrigo saying last week that she likes this better than Instagram. It's Nicki Minaj telling her fans, this is where my best fans are, and then dropping news that no one else can get, or ticket links that no one else has access to, because she wants those people to get it. So I wanted to share a quick video of what it sounds like when the artists are actually on the platform. Yeah, this is just in the last few weeks. This is like what it sounds like when they're talking directly to their best fans.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Selena. Thank you so much for supporting Love On. Thank you so much for all your love. It means the world to me.
Thank you to Oakland. I couldn't even ask for a better opening night show.
I shoot a music video with Lau in LA. That's a good memory. I will tell Lau, you want another song.
I'm focusing on myself. That's how I was able to put this song out, because I didn't have no distractions, you feel me? But yeah, Cardi, I love this song.
Let's put the music up on this one. No me digas mañana te quiero hoy, pero si ya tiene dueño.
Let's listen to our new mini album with Youth and the remix album One Spark 2.
I'm definitely working hard. I'm outdoing myself for this project that I'm about to release. I got so many songs and I'm ready to make y'all so proud.
Here's an example of the intimacy. This you'll really get, and I think it's the right audience for it. You'll really understand that when I keep saying that merch booth feeling. We saw this other way that fans wanted to support their artists, besides streams, besides being a community and saying we're all here at one time and come talk to us whenever you want. Welcome to our channel, like I said. Billie Eilish went on, and it's worth noting, I think Music Alley actually covered this, but like Spotify was doing something called Listening Party, and they're testing out these things that we really know that like fans do want to listen together, and the artist wants to be there for the best fans. Billie Eilish went on their Listening Party experience, and she was on for a few seconds, ran a playlist, and didn't even say goodbye. In contrast, just last week, Billie Eilish went on Stationhead 7 times, 2 of which with Phineas, which is a rarity to see them doing something like that together. And she was thanking their fans, telling them stories, talking about the music, and selling a real amount of records. And the cool thing about selling records on Stationhead, and they're MP3s, to be clear, and we'll move as much as 50% of first week record sales, like we did for Nicki Minaj a few weeks ago, in a few hours, which she'll do in a full week. And so Billie moved a lot of records, and she's shouting out the fans. It's not like a little spinning wheel of how we're used to, like, being ushered into a cart experience. Fireworks are going off like it's, like you just bought the best Robin Hood stock, and people are high-fiving each other, and Billie Eilish is shouting your name out. And it's a very, very cool experience for these kids and the artists alike. Here is a video, just a quick screenshot, basically, really raw, of what that was just a few days ago.
Bittersweet Blues. All right, I'm out of here. I love you guys so much. I will see you very soon. Enjoy listening to the album. Stream the album. Buy the album. Play the album. Show people the album. Do all the things. And you will be getting a hero video very soon. You will be getting... Yeah, okay. I love you so much. I will see you guys soon. Okay, have fun listening. Bye.
So Billie's shouting out the fans' names and telling her about what's coming next, talking about the meanings of the songs. And for me, it hits home too, because when I was like, even on Atlantic Records, I remember going to the woods, like Will was describing, taking those walks, making this beautiful record, shave my head, like just went there. And I come out and I hand great people, of course, but I hand the label the record, and they say, "Great, thank you. Now we need content." And as an artist, you go, "Oh, God, like, what did I just hand you? My life's work is content." And with Stationhead, it really is amazing for the artist, because the content is the music, right? And then the rest of it is the fans just being there and supporting you. So it's been pretty incredible to ride this in the last, I'd say this year we've been behind every #1 record. Again, we drive consumption, we drive paid streams, we drive record sales. We just did our first exclusive merch drop to Stationhead with Zayn last week. We're at the point now where we have the music industry's best customers in one place for hours and hours a day.
There's a question here, Ryan.
Sure.
So first of all, congrats for building this. And that it's great to see the bigger acts using the platform as well. And then there's a question about, at what point in the artist's developing career do you think is the sweet spot for Stationhead? Are there metrics for average monthly listeners or social media audiences that matter most on your platform?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're coming for you next. Like that's really where we're starting to focus. This has always been we build everything for the fans first, right? And that's a definite difference of how we're going about our Superfan app. It's really resonated with an audience that you can't buy. And there is nuance, and you can't just, again, try to just go sell them stuff. So to answer your question on, where in other ways, there was a band, New Jeans. They did their first ever live with Stationhead on their first record. So they didn't have much of a base yet. And then what was it, 2 years later, they did another one, and that was like their first #1 record. But they camped out on Stationhead from the beginning with even less fans, and just accumulated their early fans on Stationhead, and knew that if they kept funneling them into Stationhead, that over time that would add up. And this way they knew how to kind of add the fuel to the fire. They were very, innovative there to do it that way. We're now building, we learned from the artists and the fans, so we're building tools to do just that for every artist. I mean, every fandom. Currently, it makes a lot of sense when I pull back and realize why the biggest artists are using this, because their fandoms, they do add up globally. We just needed to connect them and be able to give them the place to mobilize. So if you're already established, it obviously is an easier jumping point to move the needle in that kind of way. But we're actively coming for the next, which is like, hey, I just started. And of course, I need my Instagram and I need my TikTok, but I have great tools and features on Stationhead that I could start with right away. So my super fans, I know, will always be here.
Is there a minimum fan base number required? Sonia is asking. I don't think there is, right?
No, not at all. Again, this is like what we're building into. So, the more we learn, the faster we learn, the better there. But that is the goal, that these are your best fans, and funnel them here, and we'll will continue to kind of nurture that. So you could say, where's my fandom? And, you know, they're on Stationhead. And something I thought about when, this one might actually work to share. This is an example of a fandom. Here's, you know, Cardi B's fandom. You could see what's happening here, and imagine, just scale it down. I mean, scale down to, like, you know, my fandom, or even a starting artist of 10 fans, right? And you could see how many streams they're driving. You could see how many sales. You could see their influence even on other platforms of what their pull is. Like, these are the best fans. It's like, if you want to get to the right, what's that?
Can you get in touch with them directly on the platform there?
Absolutely. I mean, that was the point. Like, how can I talk to them? So here, send a voice note right now, right? Send them a push message. Let them know what you need. Let them know what you're doing. This is all while you're not even doing anything. They're still driving consumption. Also, to Will's point about all the different kinds of platforms, and another one you have to kind of get your following to, this is something no one signed up for. You know what I mean? Like, this is pre-populated. This is someone handing me a Rhinestar dashboard and saying, here's all your fans here currently, that you didn't have to do anything. You don't have to say, go sign up on this list or text me this number. These are pre-populated just from being on the platform. And it's an incredible amount of, you know, the right data and the right way to reach out directly to them. And this button there, that star, that means they're all access. Those are the kids that have been there for, you know, 7 days straight. We gamified, like, the work people put in, right? So they've been reaching goals, and we've now badged them, and they wear that badge so proudly. They'll show up at a concert with a sign that says Stationhead fam, meet here. You know, if you're a real fan, you're on Stationhead. So yeah, it means a lot to be able to access them and talk directly to them. That was the problem I was trying to solve as an artist.
So we have a couple of final questions here, and I think that's a great way to summarize as well, for everyone to understand how Stationhead can be used. Because one question here is, how do fans initially get onto the platform? And then, are there any other ways to engage with fans on Stationhead than live chats and song listening? So maybe if you could sum up sort of what are the ways for artists to engage with fans on Stationhead, and how do fans actually get on the platform?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the lift for the fans, they come and they congregate, and once we see a certain, like, amount of fandoms happening on their own, that's when a channel's born, right? So here I'm looking at this, like, you know, you can have let's see, in Nicki Minaj's case, and it's a big artist again, but she has 1 million channel users. 6,000 of them are channel hosts, right? So you have these fans all over. So imagine, you know, you have all of these fans kind of separated, doing their own thing, but they all add up because that influence adds. So at that point, you know, you have enough fan hosts. Let's say you have, you know, 50 different fan channels doing their thing, or 10 different fan channels. Now you give them a channel. And that goes all day long, right? So it's really special. So that at any moment you're listening to the next person that's hosting their listening thing. So the artist has to do nothing really, except maybe say, like, hey, like, go hang out on Stationhead, whatever, and they'll come whenever. But the fans are there all the time, and they're keeping the air alive in that way. And then all they have to do is really, honestly, it's really about the fans kind of hanging out. So they just have to sign up and go live for their artist.
Is there a link, like a direct link, fans or artists can share to a specific artist station? Like, for example, you know, if an artist was sharing, I think that's a question here. So if an artist wanted fans to join their station, they could, for example, go on Instagram stories, put a link there to the station directly, so fans can go there.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's when it bumps up a little bit, of course. So, like, most of the traffic is coming right from the side door, you'd say. Like, we don't have this great discovery platform yet. It's really coming from fans on Twitter saying, let's go here and hang out. And then when the artist says, hey, I'm actually joining in 5 minutes too, that obviously helps centralize everybody. And that's all there is to it. Yeah.
Right.
And there's more to do, by the way. So there's like a threads feature, right? So they're communicating in a Reddit style thing. They're chatting, they're buying the record, they're sharing the links, they're playing in some cases other people's music, you know, exposing them to others. It's very raw, and everyone kind of uses it in their own way. But it's always kind of for the fans to be mobilized together and feel like an army. That's really what it is.
There's one more question, actually. As a prospective user, it sounds like the data collection through cookies from the site is quite rigorous. Can you speak to privacy and safety from the platform that users might be concerned about?
Absolutely. I'll be able to speak more to it soon. This is a prototype that we put together for some of our label partners just to get some feedback. And we have, legal working through all the things that we'll actually be able to make sure come to life. Yeah, privacy for us, like any founder and in this case artist, is top priority. And when I say I'm looking out for the fans in a world where they all have $ targets on their heads right now, I can't understate that. Like, this was built out of a true, the truest reason to literally want to connect with my fans directly. I mean, I can't say that more clear, and it sounds so cliche these days, but that is everything I built here. And to hear it come through the artists and the fans now, and some of them, like I said, biggest stars in the world, some of them starting out, to hear that one nuance where they know they're talking to that person is so refreshing for all of us here, to know that that could still exist in a digital world. And we're bringing those kids back in from the cold. Like, no one's really built that for them here. And that's the most special part, and why I'm so excited about what's coming, and so excited to answer those questions about emerging artists and breaking talent and all the things that are on our roadmap now.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Thanks very much for joining. I think I'd like to wrap up this session as well, just answering one more question that's not actually related to Stationhead and summing things up a bit. But yeah, thanks very much for joining here. There was one more question from Kristen, who asked, how do you feel the Web3 fits into the Superfan experience? And there was actually, obviously there was a lot of hype around Web3 a while ago, and it feels like a lot of that has died down now, and there's like much more skepticism around it. We actually had a great case study in that Sandbox report that we were talking about from Avenged Sevenfold. And what they've done is they sort of built their own fan rewards system based on Web3 and blockchain, where everything that a fan does to kind of support the artist, whether that's buying a concert ticket, buying merch, and also streaming music, gets them points in their own sort of like artist branded fan app. And the more points they get, the more they'll be able to use these points for rewards connected to the band. And even if they at one point decide that they are not a fan anymore or something like that, they're even able to sell these points. And they've went down that route of actually building something themselves. But there are a lot of artists that are working, for example, with platforms like Medallion that are very much a Web3 company, but they are not communicating it that much anymore, because obviously there's a lot of mistrust in fan bases when, as soon as they hear the word Web3 or NFTs, they're like, don't want to have anything to do with that. But what they enable artists to do is doing exactly that, rewarding fans for their support, understanding how different fans are supporting the artists. Some fans might be more going to all of the gigs, whereas others might be more, streaming more. So I think that's a really great use case there, and that learning that maybe not communicating so much about what technology it's built on, but just focusing on how it can benefit fans, and that it's not about selling something to them, but actually rewarding them. I think that's how it fits in there. You're going to be actually the first people I think that we're going to talk to about this. So the evolution of Music Ally is coming. As I've said, Music Ally has been publishing news and information in written form for a really long time. And now we are launching a new platform that we have been built basically based on the feedback that we're getting from the industry. People don't have a lot of time to kind of look into new marketing strategies or look what other people are doing, be across all of the different things that are happening. And therefore, we have built a platform that we are calling Music Ally Pro. This is currently in beta right now, so excuse me. And basically what it's going to entail has a couple of different things. We have what we call quick insights, which are videos we are uploading, a couple of them a month. They're supposed to kind of keep you abreast of strategies at the speed of the market. So campaigns, tools, strategies that are currently being used in marketing campaigns, and we'll give you our Music Ally analysis of how you can use them in video format. So if you don't enjoy reading a lot, hopefully that's going to be enjoyable for you. We have built these what we call knowledge hubs, focused on a couple of different topics that we think are super important for modern music marketing. So, you know, things like community building and management, so stuff we've just talked about today, digital advertising, influencer marketing, new tech and trends, things like Web3 or AI, revenue streams and monetization. How can you make more money for your artists outside of streaming? Social media and digital platforms, what we know about, there's so many and it's very, very difficult to keep on top of them. Streaming, international marketing, and release campaign strategy overall. And basically, for example, these knowledge hubs, they bring together all of our content. So if you say today, I want to look at what can I do to drive more streams, you'll find all of our quick videos there. You find our longer courses that go through all of the different best practices relating to that topic. You'll find our reports there. So we're actually bringing in the Music Ally editorial here as well. And you'll also find related campaigns. And that's going to be another element of this. So we have built a campaigns database. We have been writing about music campaigns for, as I've said, more than 20 years. But previously, it was really difficult to actually search those campaigns on our website. So now you have this campaigns database with campaigns that have been submitted to us by teams, campaigns we are tracking on a weekly basis. You can search them, which is great because, you know, you can see what other people are doing. You can get inspired. If you are thinking, okay, I want to do this thing, but actually, I don't know, have someone else done that before? And maybe how did they do it? Who did they work with? You can do that here as well. And then we have also like an interactive support. So we are actually going to integrate something in here, which you can't see now because it's just being finalized. But we have trained our own AI bot on our archive, so our Music Ally knowledge, which we're going to integrate here. So that means, you know, it's more powerful than ChatGPT because obviously ChatGPT is only up until whatever 2021 and it's not really music specific. So we have all of our music specific material in there. You can go on there if you quickly want to find an answer to a question. Hopefully it will be able to help you. And if you're not able to get the answer you're looking for by using that AI tool, you can submit a question to us anonymously, and we'll be curating answers on what we call an AMA feed. So, you know, you can always kind of sort of go to this side and hopefully we'll be able to help you out with any question you have, find inspiration, keep on top of everything, whether that's, you know, through video content, the AI bot, or reading our material. Yeah, so that's it in a quick nutshell.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And just so everybody knows, anybody who came to this webinar today or registered, you'll all be getting a link to the webinar once it's on our YouTube channel. You'll get the Sandbox guide to marketing to superfans, and you'll all be welcome to the Music Ally family. So you'll be able to stay on top of all this and unlock all these incredible tools. So I just want to thank Marlen, Will, and Ryan for joining us today and sharing such a wealth of experience and knowledge with our community. We're truly grateful. And I also want to thank everybody who attended. So thank you for being part of this webinar and being part of this community. Follow us online at MMF-US and enjoy the rest of your day. And just thanks for being here. Thank you.